They say parenting is a gift from God, but they also say parenting is a full time job, and for sure it's not easy. Today we have Dr. Vibhuti Sharma, adolescent counselor, and yes, welcome to the another episode of Author Interviews Anshuman, and let's welcome Vibhuti Sharma. Hi Vibhuti.
Thank you. Hi, Anshuman. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me in this conversation.
It's all mine.
And it's Happy Women's Week, so all about.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Before we start, Vibhuti, would you like to quickly run us through yourself, like who you are, what you do, why you
Yes.
do such things?
Okay. Um, I'm a biologist by profession, basically a zoologist. Uh, I completed my PhD in fish parasitology. Um, I was, although not very sure that I'll be able to do that because every day I used to sacrifice one fish, took out the parasites, and used to observe. And I was known for my work because there was no other person who used to sacrifice those fishes. And it was a brutal act. Being a lady, I was doing that. And my batchmates used to say, okay, Brahman ka janaman, kasai ke karm. So I said, okay, this is my karma. I want to do this and I'll be doing that. So that's how I completed my PhD, and it was kind of a very good experience. After that, I took up the profession of a teacher, being motivated by uh, my professor, Professor H.S. Singh. So uh, that, and I'm a bio teacher, a biology teacher in National Public School, Indiranagar of Bangalore. Plus, I am a senior school counselor over there. I counsel adolescents and their parents. So that's about me. I'm a certified counselor, and apart from that, I counsel, children also. I counsel elderly as well, middle-aged people. When if you are running through middle-age crisis, so I counsel those people as well. So that's about me.
So I should come to you very soon. I'm almost 14.
Okay, I wish you don't go that middle-age crisis.
Okay. But one thing you missed that you are an author as well, and you
Hmm.
has got tremendous feedback, which I've
Yeah.
read your book and it was fabulous. Trust me. So congratulations for that, and thank you for writing on this topic because
Thank you.
you're most welcome. I mean, I'm glad you did on this topic because this is something. So nowadays you can see on the internet, you can see a lot of coaches, the so-called coaches and all. They call them parenting coaches, and
Yeah.
um, but the value that they provide, I mean, most of them, I don't say most of them, but yes, there are some popular ones who are not certified. First thing,
Hmm.
सर्टिफिकेशन चलो एक बार लेट keep मतलब साइड में रखते हैं उसको बट अपना सर्टिफिकेशन दे don't have the experience also मतलब I see young people like in their 30s 20s 30s they are talking about this topic, and this is a very sensitive topic, like this is a very sensitive age, you can say, right?
Yeah.
So uh, one wrong guidance, one wrong advice can spoil the entire life of the kid. So
Of course.
thank you for writing this book.
Thank you so much, Anshuman, for motivating me at each and every step. And you are, I owe this book to you, I would say. Otherwise, had you not been there, I would not have completed it and published it. For sure, that is there. So you were a constant motivation. हो जाएगा. And I was like, okay, ठीक है,
And
चलता है. It's good.
I needed it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
This is one thing. From a biologist to a counselor,
Yes.
how the transition happened?
See, I think those counseling skills were kind of there in me forever. So people used to, when I was studying, also my friends and colleagues, they used to come for advice, and they used to find it very relevant whenever. I mean, I used to give them practical advice. This is right. This you can do. This you can't do. Now now my counseling is totally different. That time I used to do that very directive kind of thing. Now it is non-directive. I will place the options. Nowadays I'll place the options. Okay, these are the options you have, you choose which suits you. What do you want to do about it? So my counseling is on that line nowadays. But before I used to be very very directive. So this is not going to, as per your attitude, as per your personality, this will not work for you. But then it used to work well that time also. And um, my friends used to feel that okay, I can kind of resolve all their problems and help them out in solving them. So somehow it was there in me. And this particular uh, field, counseling, you can say, it's very close to my heart. And I feel very comfortable. I'm a very student friendly teacher, but that doesn't mean that I mean, you can take me for granted. uh, my students know their boundaries and they don't step on their boundaries. They understand what is expected to them. And yeah, that's about it. But at the same time, they always feel free to approach me. They don't hesitate, like, okay, what will she say? So I'm kind of very non-judgmental person. And uh, and I take things as they appear. It's not that okay, why did you do that, why you are not doing this. So there's no why. What you are doing, what you have done, I am accepting you as a person. So I think that's what, when you accept a person unconditionally, that's where the individual start opening up. And that's how it happens with my students and all the other clients. So I accept them unconditionally, I don't judge them. So they feel, I mean, they feel free to share their things and their problems and issues with me. So that's how I you know started off as a biologist, and slowly turning into a counselor, or whatever you want to say.
And
I think I would like to call myself as their friend who will understand them unconditionally.
that's it.
Both students and parents, of course.
Yeah. And since how long you're doing it?
It's been 3-4 years now.
Yeah, 3 4 years.
3-4 years with that tag. Before also I used to do. See, when you are a teacher, you need to counsel a student at each and every step, whether it is related to their emotions, whether it is related to their academics. When you have parent teacher meetings, then also you are counseling the student as well as their parents. So you can't say that it is like for how long you are doing. So that ways I have been doing it for uh, 12 plus years since the time I'm teacher. But then with this tag and with this qualification, with this certification, I'm doing it for past 4 years.
Awesome. 12 years. So I'll say 12 years only, not 2 years, 12 years, because I know how, I mean, I would say difficult, but how challenging it becomes sometimes to handle kids. So even I used to teach, I mean, kids. I still teach kids, I mean, in some special classes and all. And I know it's fun, it's interesting, and they can do wonders that we can't do. At the same time, sometimes it's very difficult to convince them, to very difficult to manage them. So we have to be very careful. And yes,
I would say it's all about emotional stuff. Every If you are able to touch those kids, basically adolescents, okay, at the emotional level, they are like your pets. I'm sorry I'm using that word, but then whatever you say, they will do it. And that's what I have observed with my children as in my students. So if you are able to connect with them emotionally, if you are able to understand them, if you are able to relate to them, then you don't have to struggle with uh, of course they will bargain at a few times, like, ma'am, can we do it in this way? Then you will also have to bargain. Why do you want to do this? Okay, why are we doing? You present your point of view, like, we are doing it in this way because these are the advantages. So they will understand, and then bargaining will always be there. You have to be ready with that. but you have, at the same time, you should be ready with your answer. Like, I want this way. It should not be either you do it my way or highway. It shouldn't be. You give them opportunity to talk, you listen to them, and try to, if they have a really good idea, try to incorporate that idea. But then if you feel your idea is better, you are the best judge as their teacher, as an adult, then you guide them. And that's what I feel. It's uh, I mean, the role of the teacher over the years is changing. Now our children, I mean, they want somebody who can facilitate them through their learning. They don't want one sage on the stage, okay, who's just preaching and doing something. They are very smart. They are ready to learn. They are, you can say, their self learning abilities are phenomenal. You just have to guide them. You do this and they will achieve, they will show you the result. So that's what is required.
So true. So true. But again, now there's you can say generation gap or something. But previously they used to say they used to follow the Chanakya Niti, like pamper them till 5 years and then punish them for their mistakes till they are 17, 16, and then after that become friends. Okay, that was what they say Chanakya Niti. Nowadays it's a bit different. So previously it was like आई रिमेम्बर मेरे साथ तो कभी नहीं हुआ बट मेरे पेरेंट्स के टाइम पे, मेरे मुंडा के टाइम पे, दे यूज्ड टू से माय ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स राइट, दे यूज्ड टू गो टू स्कूल एंड टेल द टीचर कि अगर इतनी पढ़ाई नहीं किया तो मारना उसको. इट वाज दैट इन ड्यूरिंग माय टाइम. इट वाज नॉट लाइक दैट. मतलब ठीक है, फिर भी मारते थे स्कूल में. मैंने मार खाया है स्कूल में, बहुत मुर्गा भी बना हुआ है. बट नाउ इट्स लाइक अगर कोई टीचर थोड़ा सा भी डांटता है, जोर से बात करता है, देन पेरेंट्स गो एंड यू नो as a teacher, you know what all things happen about that. So, are we really doing the right thing, or how is it? What's your take on it as a teacher, as a mom?
uh, okay, let me just uh, talk about from the side of parents as of now. Okay, so you were talking about your grandparents. So when I mean, when your grandparents were parents, I mean, I'm talking about your parents. So then they were like three, four siblings, or even more, right? Okay, when it came to our parents' generation, again, it came to two or three children. Now, in our generation, it is one mostly. Okay, and if parents want to have latest, I mean, last two, not more than that. Okay, and most of the parents, they put their heart, soul, effort, money, dreams into their, into their child, whatever, one child, two children, uh, whatever they have. So they put their complete energy into that. When we compare our parents generation, they had other things. We used to, I mean, most of us, I'm not saying everybody, we had a very good connection with our cousins, and we used to stay in joint families. So we had connections over there. And we were kind of quite independent that ways. Emotionally, we were not completely dependent on our parents. Nowadays, in present age, parents, uh, the kids, because the family system is so what you can say, so diluted, that we have nuclear families. In that also, parents are busy with their own work, uh, that to one child. So what parents feel that, okay, we have to, sometimes they give time, sometimes they fail to give time. I'm not saying, I'm not telling that they always fail. Some of the parents, they do time, but then that time is like, they will be, I mean, you must have heard of that term, helicopter parents. They will be revolving around their child, what he is doing, what he is what he's playing with, what are his, who all are his friends, what he's doing in school, what is he eating. So there, the child is there's no personal space for that child also, although that small child needs your attention, but then that child needs some kind of independence, so that he or she can grow properly. So present age parents, what they are doing, I mean, what we are doing, I'm not saying what they are doing, what we all are doing is we are so engrossed uh, in bringing up our child perfectly. Okay, perfectly. We feel that okay, we need to do everything perfectly, and we hold our children as our trophies. See, this is my child, and he is doing beautifully in academics, he's doing beautifully in sports, he is doing beautifully in extracurriculars. So it is like that, it is like tick marks, my child should be one all rounder. So that is the difference between our generation and our previous generation. So, and none of the parents, none of us, whether we are talking about our previous generation or our generation, we don't want our child to, you know uh, to grow up into some individual who's not able to take care of himself, or not support the society. We as parents want them to grow into successful individuals, and the definition of success can be different for different individuals, but then we want the best for our children. So let's not question the parenting things, but then we need to understand what is really required for a child to grow up into a responsible individual. What I feel, being responsible for what you do is very, very important. And with all these things which we are spoon feeding, the way we are spoon feeding our children, uh, this is not helping to make them responsible. So most of the time, like you said, that up to 5 age you need to pamper the kid, and from 5 to 16 years of age you need to scold, and then 16 onwards become his or her friends. So what is happening in present, uh, what present age parents are doing, they'll start from the year one, they start pampering the child, and it will continue throughout the life. Even if the child needs some kind of correction, they will not. Okay, but then it becomes really challenging later on. If you are not correcting the child, the definition of right and wrong will, I mean, the child will not understand what is right, what is wrong. Of course, these are the societal norms. I understand what is right for you could be wrong for me. What is right for me could be wrong for you. But then there should be some kind of basic understanding of right or wrong. Or I mean, present what I have understood after dealing with so many parents and so many children, that at least you tell them that okay, whenever you are doing something for the first time, and if your conscience is saying, this is not right, please don't do that. Your inner voice will tell you which is what is right, what is wrong, whether you are going to hurt your parents sentiments, whether you are going to hurt yourself, all that, I mean, it will come from within. So you need to tell your child that if your inner voice is saying don't do this, just listen to that voice for the first time and don't do this, and we will not ask you question. And again, parents need to uh, instill that kind of trust in the relationship. Okay, we are going to support you, but then you need to be very clear and very truthful with us, so that relationship, that trust is also missing in the relationship, in most of the relationship. So it is because we are always correcting them at times, like you said that okay, 10 to 16 years uh, you correct them or you scold them. Not like that, you don't have to scold them, but then uh, uh, telling them right and wrong is very, very important. And become friends after 16, of course. uh, Present age students or present age children, they are very, very responsible. I love this generation. Their values might be different from your values and mine, but they have, their values are very, very, I mean, you can be in awe with those values. They are more accepting. They uh, they take people as individuals. You will see less gender differentiation in these children. They are exposed to so many other things. They have options, and they know how to use these options. We as adults, we need to tell them that okay, when you are deciding certain options to live your life or whatsoever, you just weigh those options, which particular option is right for you, which particular option is wrong for you. So we just need to guide them, like I told you, like they don't want one sage on stage, whether it is a teacher, whether it is a parent. They just want some facilitator who can just tell them that okay, this is what you will get if you select this particular option, and this is what you will get if you select this particular option. That's what they require. They otherwise, um, they have exposure to whole lot of things. I mean, you can say the whole world is there in their fist. Okay, they everything is there on their fingertips. They will just put anything they want to know on Google, and it's there.
Yeah.
So uh, it's not like our times where we had limited exposure, and there was we were not so globally connected as these kids are. So there are so many different platforms. I mean, these kids are chatting. I mean, few months ago, I came to know my son is chatting with some Polish girl. Okay, and I mean, I was like, what? How? There's a platform called Discord, I think. Yeah, so there, and many of these kids are there. I said, how come you get to know these people? So we need to make them aware, like, okay, you are making friends, this is your age to make friends. But then I'm giving you my life example, because these things could be very, very scary. You don't know whether the person out there is a girl or a boy or somebody else or some adult. So you need to tell them that okay, there are certain things which are happening. There's something called cyber crime. What happens, you just need to sensitize them. And these kids are very, very understanding, I would say. They are very intelligent, they are very responsible. That ways they will understand. So I don't agree to this pamper them to this age. I mean, I feel that in that age also, 1 to 5 years of age also, you need to correct them, and beyond that also you need to correct them. And if that connection is made, if that I mean, if you are well connected to your child, if your child trusts you well, then they will come back to you. Even if they are your friends after 16 years of age, they will come back to you for suggestions.
Yeah.
So at each and every step you need to correct them as parents, because and sorry to say, many parents will not agree to this particular sentence which I'm saying. Anybody could be their friend. That's what I believe in. Anybody could be your child's friend, but nobody can take the charge of parentship. You are the person who is the only parent he or she has. So yeah, so I tell my son always, I'm your mom, I'm not your friend. I can be a friendly mom, but I'm not your friend. So that's what.
Yeah. So, in short, if I say you don't agree to Chanakya Niti,
I don't.
so
See, every niti has to be
upgrade,
changed,
upgraded. Yeah.
modified according to the changing times. I don't agree to it completely.
Even I don't. तो कल अदोरा स्कूल जाएगी and अगर ऐसा कुछ होता है then I don't know how I will react. So yeah, this is not right, especially beating or something.
No,
But
of course. See, nowadays teachers don't beat.
they can.
Teachers don't. They are not. But then, see, again, parents
Go
needs
to the
to give
rural
them.
areas. They still have schools in rural India where their teacher with this chadi and those things. Still
We
there.
have.
Not in metros, but yeah.
Yeah, that is there. But then we can't do much about it. And the time will change. I think we need to. India is a huge country, Anshuman, that ways. And any kind of, I mean, if you want a system to be in place, it will take time. So that is there.
Okay.
So yeah.
One more thing, since we're talking about this punishment and all, one thing that just came to my mind is suicide.
Hmm.
The numbers are increasing day by day, especially in teens, right? Uh, the reasons are silly. I mean, sometimes it's for a gadget, sometimes it's for a game, sometimes it's for a girlfriend, a boyfriend, sometimes it's for the marks. I mean, कुछ भी मतलब कुछ भी reason आता है. If you see, I mean, you can't love because somebody has committed suicide, but the reason when you see, is it possible? So, what do you think? It's just because they're missing the connection between the parent. With the,
Yeah, for everything you cannot see. Like I told you, each and every parent wants to bring up their child in the most beautiful way they can. Okay, so that is there, and you can't blame upbringing for that. You can't blame their teachers for that. uh, to an extent, I feel the whole society is responsible. The way we are presenting things before our these young adults or adolescents, their emotional EQ, emotional quotient is going very very low, because we as parents, we are acting as providers. We as schools, I mean, I'm talking about schools and teachers as well. uh, if you remember, Anshuman, there was one, I mean, there was a clear category, what you can say, category like, okay, this one will be the topper. He has come first. He is the second ranker. He is the third ranker in whichever field, in sports, in studies. Now that rank system is not there. Okay, so
okay,
somehow I feel sorry.
I wasn't aware of it.
No, there's no rank system these days. I mean, in ninth and 10th, of course. But then I remember when I was in grade one and grade two also, they used to announce that, okay, he's the first ranker in the class. He's the second ranker. He or she has come third. And the prizes were given to that child. Now, that kind of motivation is not there. All the children are same. I mean, same as it, of course, they are different in their own ways, but then school is not, school or parents, they are not categorizing children like that. I feel to an extent that is also important. That differentiation is important, which helps in building the emotional quotient of a child. They learn to take the setbacks in the right way. When we don't tell them that you lack somewhere, okay, they don't learn in that way. They feel they whatever they are doing is perfect. They don't have to push themselves a little bit. So if, I mean, I remember um, when I used to come fourth or fifth or third for that matter, I never came first in my class. Okay, so my mother used to always tell me, see, these are the things you are missing. You need to work on these things. What are we doing? Or if you are going for any sports, so I mean, especially in junior classes, I mean, till grade 1 or grade 2, I think, in many of the schools, many of very good international schools I have seen, that they will present a medal to each and every participant. So those who, all of you have won. I understand that it is a way of empathizing, like, okay, they should not feel bad, their self-esteem should not go down. I understand that, but then we need to think about the self-esteem of the child who is doing really well and getting that first rank. What is happening with that? Either either we are demotivating that child, or in, I mean, are we demotivating child when we are motivating others? That what will be, I mean, what will be the emotions of that particular child who's putting his heart and soul to get that particular position? So that is happening. So these children, they don't have a proper emotional quotient, because they don't know that there could be some setback. They don't know that they can be punished for making a mistake. They don't know that if they are lacking, what they are lacking and how to improve that. So all these things, I mean, I'm I'm not talking about parents, I'm talking about society in general. We are facilitating so much that they are not able to handle many of the things. So they need to learn, they need to be responsible for handling the things, I mean, some of the setbacks. And then I think these rates will come down. And like I told you, our family structure is changing a lot. Parents don't have time, and even if they have time, they will be revolving around the child. So I think it is not good for psychological or mental health of the child.
What I understood from this is uh, they never learn how to fail.
Yeah, you can say that. We don't allow them to learn how to fail.
Yeah, and
So
when
it's not the,
they see failure, they can't accept it, and then they commit this thing. Maybe
it is not just the failure, Anshuman. It is not just the failure. They can't accept no. I know one of the kid. Uh, he used to be a student. He used to be my student long back. He committed suicide. It's very sad, just because his 10th standard was there, and parents said, parents they gave his dog for adoption to somebody else. Like, after your 10th, we will bring that dog back, but for 10th standard, you'll have to study. But then this for this, like you said, that for very very small reasons, these children will take these drastic steps. So for you and me, it is like, what, for a dog? But yes, there was no other issue. This child was very lonely because parents, they were busy in uh, some of their activities, and I agree with the parents, they cannot be around their children forever. So, and after this particular age, 9, 10th, when they are, you know they are young adults and they are into their friends, it's not always possible for the parents to be around. So that was the reason. So we need to say no also sometimes to our children. It's not that my kid wants this particular toy, I have to provide it. What kind of parent I'll be? No, nobody is questioning your parenting skills for that. But your child need to know that you will say no for certain things, and there is a possibility that he or she will not get that particular toy or that particular book, or that particular dress, for that matter, what he is asking for. Even, I mean, you have to judge on those lines whether you really want to give your child that much of don't be the provider all the time. Just you need to say no to your children at times.
we should learn how to say no. And saying no, even that's not an easy thing. I know
Not an easy thing.
as a parent, but as an individual, it's not for us human being. It's not a very easy thing to say no if somebody asks for something. We have to, So yes, people should, the parents, all of us, should learn how to say no. Even that is something that we need to learn. So, Jyoti, since we're talking about all this thing in book is on this thing, I want you to share a couple of things with the viewers, like what are things they can get in your book.
Uh, First thing, what I want you to read basically is the first chapter, that is understanding adolescence, how their physiology, their biology, their psychology is changing during this particular time. There are 4 stages in a child's life. First one is the self concept. Okay. Second is self identity. Then self realization, and fourth is self actualization. So first is self concept, where a child idealizes idealizes any role model. That could be father, that could be mother, that could be one uncle he or she is close to. So that is his concept. I want to become like my dad. I want to become like my mother. I want to become one police officer. I want to become Shah Rukh Khan. Okay, so it's like that. So that is the self concept, what a child wants to be. Then next is the self identity, which a child develops after an age of 8 years or so, 8 or 9 years, and it goes on to 15, 16 years. Okay, so that is the time where the whole tussle starts between parents uh, and their children. So the child is showing that, okay, this is what I am, this is what my personality is, now you have to accept it. So, and then parents, for parents, that child is still a child, he's not growing. So the parents will say that, okay, no, whatever I am asking you to do, please do that. Okay, you don't know what is right for you. Of course the child doesn't know what is right for him or her, but then again, you need to, you need to bargain around the things, you need to talk smartly how to deal with that situation, because the child will anyhow try to, you know uh, uh, to show his or her identity that time. Then if that time period is taken care of, that means your initial, you can say pre-teens and early teens, then the child will realize what he is capable of. So you can say 8 years to 15, 16 years of age, that is very, very important. And I'll come to that after a while. So that is important. After that, the child will realize what he or she is capable of, and the the moment the child realizes, the child will start working for self actualization, what actually he can achieve in the life. So these are the four stages in human development, you can say. Now, biologically, what is happening in the brain? Numerous connections are being formed. Okay, so neurons are working continuously. What parents needs to do, keep your child engaged positively. That's what I want to request these parents. Give them n number of experiences, whether it is related to music, whether it is related to writing, whether it is related to whatever, some drawing work, whatsoever, communication, uh, interpersonal relationships, kinesthetic. Please give them numerous experiences, because the brain is hyperactive during this time, and the connections which are formed there during this time, it will last forever, for their for their whole life. And later on, whatever your child is more comfortable with, ask your child to pick that, maybe at 16, 17 years of age. That's where they decide about the streams. uh, I mean 11th and 12th, whether you want to take arts, whether you want to take commerce, or whether you want to go for music. So that's system. You need to understand why it is done. You just don't put your child in arts from grade 1 only. So so this particular time is very, very required, because uh, there's a what you can say, there's a scientist called Howard Gardner. He has spoken about 9 type of intelligences. He says that each and every individual is intelligent, there's no dumb individual. But that intelligence is totally different. Some people are logical, they will go into math, science and all. Some people are linguistic, they speak well. Some people are spatial, they can draw well, they have artistic capabilities. Some are bodily kinesthetic, they go into sports. So these are the different kinds of intelligences. We need to provide a child all experiences which are a mix of these intelligences, and then we let the child pick and excel in one, and then you can just navigate the child over there. So this chapter will talk about this. And psychologically, I'll tell you, the brain of the child, although it is developing, all the different connections are forming, but the most important part is the limbic system. And in the limbic system, we have two parts. One is amygdala, and other one is nuclear accumbens. Amygdala is the emotional center. That's why when you say something to your teenager, it will, I mean, something uh, which he or she doesn't like, it he will snap at you. This amygdala and nuclear accumbens part is just like reptilian brain. They have not evolved in present age also, it is just like reptiles. So the way reptiles behave, our teenagers also behave when they are not in their teenage, when they are young children. Whatever you say, they will follow you as a pet. But when they start showing their identity, that teenage brain, that amygdala and nuclear accumbens part will what you can say dominate all other things. And amygdala is for emotions, I said. Nuclear accumbens is for immediate gratification. Child has not studied, but he wants good marks. What is the way out? Let me cheat, let me get good marks. Whatever, they will not calculate the after effects of that. I want it now, I want good marks now, let me see whatever is going to happen. So these two areas are very, very prominent. So you need to understand what is happening in child's body and child's brain, and why these children are behaving in that way. So if you are able to understand that, I think you'll be able to communicate with them in a better way, in an empathetic way, I would say.
Right. And for that, you have to spend a lot of time with your kid. But in today's generation, uh, especially as you say, like we don't live in joint families, right? And both the parents are working. In such scenario, it is really, I would say not possible, but it's not easy. It's becoming very difficult for parents. Even in my case, also, if you see, we both are working, right? So when Adora becomes 8 or 10 or something, yeah, we have to do something so that we can spend more time with her and less time in work. But that's uh, not possible for all of them, all the parents.
Yes, it is not possible, and it's not that Anshuman. You have to spend most of the time with the kid. It has to be a balance. You need to work also. Okay, I have to work also. I cannot just give all the time. Although I have decided, like I'm thinking, like once my son will be in ninth or tenth, he'll be going to grade 8 now. Maybe 1 year down the line, I'll quit job and be with him. I don't know how much. He's going to hate that or love that, but that is what I am thinking. But then when you are thinking something like that, it's better to have a chat with the kid. Okay, what, whether he wants that much of time or not. Like for a 8-year-old, certainly he or she won't be able to say that, okay, I need your time. But then you can figure out the ways. Okay, maybe a Sunday you can spend together, maybe take her out to some fun park or fun activity. So all those things you can do. It's not they have to uh, you they need your 2 hours on a daily basis. Even if you are giving them 15 minutes regularly, religiously, and you are with them, that time is enough for them. You just listen to them, that is enough. You just don't have they need undivided attention. You are, I mean, that happens. I mean, I'm the culprit, I am sorry. But when my son is talking, if I'm giving him undivided minutes attention, that's fine. If I'm scrolling the phone, sometimes I do that, he gets really irritated, like, okay, you are not listening to me. I said, no, I'm listening, but this is very important. Okay, then you do your important work, let me do mine. So this is very normal. This happens with me also. But then that 15 minutes of undivided attention is very important, where you are just listening, you're not speaking, you're not saying anything. Whatever they want to say, you just absorb. So if you can do that on daily basis, 15 minutes, I don't think it is difficult for many of us to do that. So either of them, either mother or father. So if both of them can do, well and good. But yeah, just 15 minutes of your 24 hours time, just see in that way,
Right.
whether you are going to drop your child off to the school, or I mean, sitting with them, then just give them undivided attention. No TVs on, no mobile phones. Don't disturb them. Just listen to them. That's it. That's what I would suggest.
Awesome. Okay, I have one more question which I have specifically noted for you. Since you written on this topic on parenting, absent parenting, and we just discussed like nowadays we see a lot of coaches, young.
Okay.
So, what are the core values according to you a parenting coach should have?
See, there shouldn't be any parenting coach. That's what I feel. Parenting should come naturally. You see animals around us. I mean, we are social animals. We are looking for those parental codes because we are very developed, or we are civilized in other ways, you can say. But then you shouldn't be, I mean, just uh, just go by your instincts. As a parent, you should know what is right for your child. That's what I would say. No coach can teach you how to parent a kid. Each kid is very, very special, very, very different, and the parent only knows how to deal with that. Nobody can teach. So please don't, I'm the wrong person to ask this question. Like I told you, I am a biologist, I'm a zoologist. Basically, I see animals around. They don't, nobody is teaching them how to
Right.
feed their kids, how to, bring up their kids and all, because we are into this civilization thing. So we have, like, okay, one kid has become, I mean, I'm telling you what used to happen uh, when we were kids. Nowadays parenting thing has changed uh, a lot. Okay, one kid from the neighborhood has become doctor, engineer, or something like that. Okay, the parents will go there. अच्छा क्या क्या किया आपने बच्चे को ये पढ़ाने के लिए, कौन सी ट्यूशन लगवाई, कौन सा क्या कराएं, हम क्या कराएं. First you see whether the capability, with that kind of capability, is there in your child or not. You need to understand that. So I don't think you need to go to any coach for that. I mean, I am not for it. You know well what your child needs. You have given birth to him or her. Understand your child. What are his or her needs? Understand those needs. Work around. Talk to your child. Nobody can teach you. Yes, of course, if you want some suggestion, talk to your parents. They have brought you out. Okay. And I'm pretty sure, I am in awe with my mother, my parents, the way they have brought us up, my brothers, really. The time, I mean, they were strict parents. I'm not saying they were not strict, but then we used to be scared also. But at the same time, we used to make mistakes, and we used to tell them that, okay, we have made this out of fear or whatsoever, because if somebody else is telling them, it will be like, or jhar padega. But we used, that kind of connection was there. So please go back to your, don't go to any parenting coach who, like you said, there are 20 years old and 30 years old who are not parent themselves and they are coaching people. Please don't go to them. Go to your parents, go to your grandparents. If you really want some good parenting lessons, ask them, this is the situation, what shall I do. Go to your aunts, I mean, whomsoever, I mean, your previous generation, whomsoever you are comfortable with, they will tell you. Otherwise, go by your instincts. That's what I feel.
Okay. But as we say, discuss, like Chanakya, he was there, and now it's time to upgrade जो कि अभी तक upgrade नहीं हुआ, and that's the reason it's not a good fit for today's generation. Similarly, the advice that we seek from our parents or our grandparents or our aunties, uncles, so those things might not fit right in this current generation.
Outdated. So you modify it according to your
Or
thing.
should we go to a counselor like you?
Yes, you can go to a counselor in that case. You can go to a counselor, but to assess again, I would say go by your instincts. That's what I said first. And if you really need a suggestion how to do, how they navigated their ways, because see, I always tell my mom that, okay, we were very simple children, we listen to you. These days children, they don't listen to their parents and they have their own mind. So in that way you need to figure out what is, and of course, same way, like, our children are smarter than us. We as parents are smarter than our parents also, because they didn't face those challenges. So of course um, you tend to figure out what suits best to your child. Talk to your parents. I would say talk to your parents, because they are more experienced. Their advice may not fit completely into to your situation, but then they can help you to navigate through that process. Like, okay, they can give you suggestions, क्या ऐसा करके देख सकते हो, अगर अच्छा ये नहीं हो रहा है तो अपने किसी दोस्त से पूछो, या हमारे किसी रिश्तेदार के बच्चे के साथ ऐसा हुआ था, अब वो बच्चा सुधर गया, उन्होंने क्या किया. So I feel
Yes, yes.
that would help, and it will certainly develop more connections within the family.
Yeah.
So those, I mean, I go with those family connections and all those things, because uh, वही दादी माँ के नुस्खे होते हैं, वो सब जगह काम आते हैं. कुछ एक चीजें तो होती ही हैं जो पेरेंट्स बताएंगे कि वो फिट होंगी ही होंगी, जब तक कि हालात बहुत खराब नहीं हो गए. Maybe if the one child has become a drug addict and our parents have not faced anything like that, then certainly it will be uh, a different thing to do. Then we have a challenge. Then if our child is going through one kind of depression, clinical depression, most of the parents, I mean, most of the parents in our parents' generation would not have faced that kind of problem. So then we need to go for some specialized advice. So for that, go for one psychologist or one counselor. That person can help you out in such extreme situation. अभी the conditions like this, खाना नहीं खाता है, क्या करे, रोज खाने का यही चक्कर है. So parent will, seriously, the parent will say, ठीक है, 2 दिन खाना मत दो, कब तक भूखा रहेगा. बट वी एज अ पेरेंट, अरे सुबह से खाना नहीं खाया, सुबह से खेले जा रहा है, भूख लगी होगी, देन वील आफ्टर द चाइल्ड.
Right.
So it's like that. So sometimes you need to be, like you said, it is tough love. So you need to be loving your child in a tough way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that forces me to ask this question. Like you are a counselor yourself, and people come to you for suggestion for help, right? Who are these people? Like, and which kind of problem is come with?
Basically, uh, parents of adolescents and adolescents themselves. So in my school, we will, if they find it difficult to, I mean, navigating through the studies and all those things, emotions also, then they will come and share all those things. And parents also, when the child is not doing well in the examination, parental concern during this particular time is related to studies. It's majorly related to studies. But then a child is under many different things. See, there is a biological development. There, the child is, undergoing the pressure of, what he wants to become, career-related issues, and they develop emotional relationships, maybe with the same sex or opposite sex, depending upon their friendships. So all these three things are happening within a child. But फॉर पेरेंट्स इट इज लाइक ओके, करियर सेट नहीं है, पढ़ता नहीं है ठीक से, पढ़ती नहीं है ठीक से, हमें कैसे पढ़ाना है. सो दैट्स देयर आउटलुक मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम, व्हाट आई, द काइंड ऑफ help parents seek from my side. So parents also need to understand what is happening in the life of child, and how will you understand that? When you'll talk to the child. So communication is very, very important. Connect is very, very important. Building trustworthy relationship is very, very important. So yeah. So these kind of people come to me. It's major from parents' side. It is majorly related to career. From children's side, it is all sorts of issues. It is career. It is their emotional thing. It is their biological thing. Everything.
Interesting. And I'm not talking about only the students of the school. I'm talking about people of Bangalore. Uh,
Yeah.
Basically, you saw only Bangalore area, right?
Yes. See,
Even
I tried online counseling, but it didn't work much. I mean, I got few clients from, I mean, across cities, but it didn't work much. It didn't work very well because, I mean, sometimes those people are not free. I'm waiting for them on call. So it is about time. So I take counseling sessions for children, not only adolescents, really small kids. for them also, I take counseling sessions for elderly, like I told you, and I take counseling sessions for all age group, uh, male, females, irrespective of their sex, transgenders also. I want to include that. So yeah.
And you're coming up with something for them also, right? You say.
Yeah, I want to start something. As of now, I have not planned anything. I discussed it with my husband, if we can train the transgender into some kind of skill, and give them a platform to work with that skill, it'll be good. Because when I see these people begging on the streets, and uh, you know people don't I mean, we as a society, we don't take care of them, although they are also human beings. They need that care and love and affection, but then for them, they are lesser beings. Most of us, we treat them like that. So I really want to do something about them. Let us see how it and when it will start.
हो जाएगा जल्दी.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
हो जाएगा. आपने कहा है तो हो ही जाएगा. So
I
it's like that.
Okay, perfect. So how do these people reach you? Like
It's word of
word of mouth.
mouth. And I have done my counseling skills, diploma in counseling skills from Banjara Academy, Bangalore. So those people also, whenever there is a need for a counselor in Sarjapur Road, excuse me, Sarjapur Road and Koramangala and around Bangalore, wherever I can go or they can come to my place. So they also recommend. So it's majorly like that.
So you don't promote it much. They just come to you.
No, no, I don't promote it much. But without promotion, only so many things are coming up. So it's like I don't want to. Again, it depends on the family time. My hands are totally full. So yeah. So without promotion, it is coming. So otherwise, I'll have to leave my job and get into counseling. So once I decide about that, like I told you, maybe after my when my son is in grade 9 or 10, I will leave my job. Then I think this would be my full-time career option.
Yeah, but not now.
So
Not anytime soon.
not now. As of now, it is full-time career option as in my school, because I'm working with NPS. So there I counsel students
And
from
you love your job.
morning till evening.
I felt you love your job.
Sorry,
And I felt that you love your job. You love
of course.
with kids. So yes, there's no point. Yeah, perfect. Okay, since we're talking about the book and this thing, would you like to share something about your journey, writing journey?
Okay, I was into writing. I used to write from my school time. Okay, I used to write, but I used to write in Hindi. Okay, this is my second writing in English, and I'm so sorry, readers. There are so many grammatical errors. I got to know today itself when I went to the school, and my friend said, "Okay, please don't mind some of the errors." I said, "Yeah, I did it in very hurry burry, so please, maybe in the next publication, I'll take care of that." So yeah, I have been writing since I was in school. I used to majorly write poetry and short stories. So, and some of my short stories are published also. And I write in Hindi. Uh, so yeah, and here, I mean, as a fiction writer, I mean, there it was all about fiction. Now, when I took up this challenge, then that time initially I started off. I thought of writing some fiction, but then it I got overwhelmed with that idea. Then I thought, okay, this particular concept is very close to my heart, and I can talk about it. I have commendable experience in that. So yes, I need to talk, like what kind of parents what type of adolescents I face, what type of parents I counsel, and what parents really need to do with their adolescent child, instead of shouting and screaming. Both the people, adolescent is shouting in one corner, parent is shouting in another corner. How can they figure out one middle way for them and be amiable in their relationship? So this is what I do in my school as a counselor. Uh, so I thought, okay, this particular topic is very, very close to my heart, and I can write uh, about it. So that's how I took up this topic.
Awesome. And the journey was not easy. I mean, there's some issue at your home.
Yeah, my father-in-law had to undergo some surgery. Uh, he had a brain hemorrhage, and he was in hospital from 15th of. He is still in the hospital, and I'm having this interview from the hospital only. So, from 15th of February, he is in ICU. Yesterday only he was shifted into the room. So yeah, so that's it. And he's not in a very good shape. His right hand side is completely paralyzed. Um, he is able to recognize us, open his eyes for past 2 3 days now. But then, other than that, there is no response. So yeah, it is a tough time. So when I wrote that book, I was like not certain whether I'll be able to complete this, but all thanks to Anshuman that he said, okay, ho jayega, karte raho. So somehow I was like, okay, whatever condition it is, I just have to push it off my chest, or you can say deliver the baby. So though it was a difficult delivery, I was able to do it. Thank you, Anshuman, for that.
The reason why I asked you this thing, why I initiated this topic, because I asked about the family, because I see a lot of people who come with excuses like time nahi hai, blah 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 blah. So this is a live example in front of you guys. Now she is a mom, she is a wife. Her father-in-law is in hospital. She is in hospital right now. Okay, but she didn't want time. If she can do it, anyone can do it. So, what do you feel, Beauty, and when people give such excuses? I feel like, ठीक है, your wish, don't do it. But
Yeah. No, the thing is, time होता है, वो हमें निकालना होता है. If we are really motivated to do something, we will do that. Okay, and let me tell you, my father-in-law has been a very big support for me after my marriage. It's like I mean, I'm able to, balance my work life and my, family life. Uh, it's because of him. I will get very emotional. I won't talk much about it. He is, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say anything. He's been like, helping me in each and every way. So yeah.
he'll be okay. He'll be
So
okay.
that's what I'm saying. Please value your parents. If you are valuing your parents, your children will learn to value you. So it comes in my book also. I'm saying that don't preach which you don't practice. Please practice first and then preach. And you don't have to preach. If you are practicing, they will observe you and they will imbibe it. So, and at each and every step, value your parents. They are the, Anshuman started, it's like parenting is the biggest gift. I would say if your parents are there, those are the biggest gift, and they are your assets, biggest asset which you can have. Of course, your kids are also your assets, but then I mean we treat them as asset. But I would say that our kids are not our assets. They might go here and there, but our parents, they will be there with us. They have lived. I mean, when I talk about parents, our parents, they have lived their life for for us so that we can become something. They have sacrificed so many things. We don't sacrifice that much for our kids. I don't sacrifice that much for my son, but then I have seen my parents doing all those sacrifices for us as brothers and sisters. I have heard my parents-in-laws sacrificing so many things for my husband and my sister-in-law. Please take care of your parents. It's very, very important.
Couldn't agree more.
And don't make excuses, like Anshuman said. If you really want to do something, you can do that anyhow.
Yeah. So ठीक है, अगर एक्सक्यूज देना है तो देते रहो भाई, बट मेरा कुछ नहीं बिगड़ने वाला है।
Of course.
Yeah. But if you complete the challenge, I feel better. So yes. ठीक है विभूति, would you like
Thank
to
you.
share anything else or I
No,
mean,
Anshuman, I talk too much. My husband says that once she's a teacher, once she'll start talking, after 45 minutes only she'll stop. So don't give me any opportunity like that.
uh,
Okay.
I
So yeah.
understand in hospital, so even I don't want to uh, take a lot of time from your this.
No, no, it's not about my time. It's a habit as a teacher. This is professional hazard. So I'll repeat things over and over again.
But
So yeah,
honestly, I must say it's a pleasure to talking to you always.
yeah, same here. Same here, Anshuman.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be in your team, in your family as an author. I loved it thoroughly, and now I'm highly motivated. Once this family condition settles, then I'll come up with the sequel, or maybe I'll modify this book, because I told you that I have removed one chapter of this book because I just wanted to do that. So now, with the feedback which my friends gave, they asked me to include 2 3 more chapters, so like single child parenting, which I have not included. So I have got few suggestions and feedback. I'll start working on it, and maybe in the second edition I'll do that.
It's gonna be a big project now.
Sorry.
We started the 5 day challenge. It's gonna be a big project now.
Yes, yes, it could be a big project. Yeah, thank you.
Most welcome and thank you. So, guys, this was Dr. Vibhuti Sharma, and yes, I'm gonna share the links in the description. Click on the link. If you're buying it today, you can get it free. Okay, I think it's the last day, Vibhuti.
I think till 13th. By mistake, I did that. 9, 10th, 11th, 12th. So till tomorrow.
Till,
5 days, right?
till
Till
13th
tomorrow it'll.
time, you can get it for free.
Hmm.
And even if you're watching it after 13th,
Hmm.
it's worth it. It's worth it. I've read it. That's what I'm telling you. It's worth it. So please, if you're a parent, just I would say blindly purchase this book, read this book, and then share your feedback. You'll love it. And yes,
Thank you.
most welcome. And yes, if you really want to write a book and you want me to have you in this interview, then I'm again sharing the link to the $5 challenge. You can click on the link, and I'll see you on Monday. See you.
See you. Bye bye. Thank you.